Okay, so we're here at Dean's place. He has an office here that's got a fish room in it. So, speaking of things...
Don't let my wife hear that. It's not a fish room, it's an office. There's a few tanks here. Some of them have stories, some don't.
Awesome, we love the stories too, so...
And then we are going to get to the fry system.
Oh.
Okay, fair enough. So, you want to start with this tank?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so this tank is... actually, let's go backwards.
Yep.
Several of the tanks in the office are kind of in the rebuild mode since the first of the year.
Right.
Okay, this is one, the one here's one, the one over there's one. And that is like, this tank used to be all cryptocorns. And forgive me, I have no idea what types. I would just buy a bunch. But for some reason, it had a major meltdown. And literally within 2 days, almost every crypt in the tank had melted and died. It does get fed some CO2. It gets fed some fertilizer. There's root tabs. Yes, I don't know why. I'm not a plant guy, but you know.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job.
We aspire to do that. So most of the plants in here are brand new within, well, since January, let's say.
Right.
And I'm an anti-snail guy. So I usually start with all tissue culture, or there's a couple members in our club that are also anti-snail guys that I can get some starts from.
Yeah, so just like plants, they've specifically made sure that there's no snails in it,
right.
Or whatever.
So it's basically got some ember tetras, which are hiding back here now because I've been flailing my hands about.
Yeah.
It's got some Siamese algae eaters, one small pleco, and some amano shrimp, and a few autosynclus. And it's starting to come back. The Anubias sprouted a new leaf. These guys have grown from, they were about 4 inches tall in January. Well, now we're near the end of January, right? Or beginning of February.
Yeah, today's the 1st. So.
And I think this is called Marcella something. That's starting to spread again. So
it's almost like a carpet plant, but it's like...
It is. It does carpet eventually. And it will actually, I believe, grow out of water also for terrarium people.
True.
This is a crinum. I've always wanted to grow a crinum really big.
Yeah.
Where they get like, you know, a 4 inch, but I've never had success. This is the first crinum that I've actually kept this long. And it was in the original tank. But when the tank crashed, I thought this was going to die too.
Yeah.
And it didn't, but it was completely covered with muck and algae.
Interesting.
The amano shrimp and the autosynclus have cleaned it up to almost brand new.
So was there any fish in this tank when it melted? Like...
Yeah, all the same fish, except for I added Siamese algae eaters.
Yeah, right. So it didn't affect the fish; it was just the plants.
No, it was just the plants.
So weird.
And you know, it was not pH. I think it could have been the city was doing work on the our big huge water tank.
Oh.
And it changes the water automatically in here.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been something in that. I don't really know.
And then you've got this tank over here.
And that same thing, it all melted at the same time. Those are new additions. They are rummy nose rasboras. And it's a fish I've wanted to try for a long time. I've seen them on other people's YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Been fascinated with them. I just didn't know that they were going to be that shy. So I might get something out, like maybe some of the little rainbows. They were always swimming. I used to have some rainbow, the little blue eyes in here.
Yeah, especially for like a desktop.
Always in the front.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's a really unique tank as well, because it enables you to be able to look at it from...
Yeah, this is actually what I like about this tank. I saw this at another guy's house in San Francisco a number of years back. He had 2 of these side by side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I can see in. And it was really cool.
That's an awesome tank. That's good for a desktop.
But I like the tank. For a desk tank, I like it.
Yeah. And then over here, I guess we can go over to these ones.
So this one is an evolution of that one that has the angels in it. That I used to think as my planted tank, but as you can see, it's too hard to work in.
Yeah.
And I just needed to have something where I could actually work in it. So I've hooked this one up. It's running on a Waze's filter with the heater built in. And again, it's just growing in. The bigger plants were ones that I've got from different club members. The smaller ones were tissue cultures. The first one that's really spreading is this foreground one.
It's like a chainsword.
Yeah, but it's a different family. I can't remember what it is, but it is growing like a chainsword.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much bigger than this.
And then what are the fish in this tank?
So officially, these are a red tetra, fairly rare in the hobby. Supposedly, when they get big, they're going to be bright red. Oh. And then the little ones are those green neon rasboras. And I want to add one other type of fish I haven't decided, along with some cories. There's no cories in here yet, but I want to get a special cory, but I don't know what yet.
Yeah.
Maybe on our trip tomorrow. So it's a fun tank. It's in its infancy, so we'll see, in 4 or 5 months how it grows in.
Yeah, the evolution of it.
Yeah.
And then, so is that filter you were saying, is it a canister filter? Because
yes.
You've done a good job with wrapping, because at first I didn't even notice it sitting in the corner there. Is that 3D background, or is it something you've...
This is it's technically it's a 3D background. It comes in sheet form.
Yeah.
I saved something just for you for that.
Ah.
So, sorry. This is the back. It's a plastic.
Yep.
And then they've coated it and colored it.
Right.
So it's flexible.
Which is perfect for that.
Which is good.
Yeah.
For going around the pipe, I actually cut the piece and I put it in my oven for about an hour on really low heat.
Yeah.
And then I could just flex around it and glue it on it.
Perfect.
But the background is typically like this. So even if you wanted to mold the inside corner, you could if you wanted to.
So you could have it around the side.
You could if you want to, yeah.
Back end.
But I looked at that and thought, you know what? Occasionally I like to look in the side.
Yeah, that's
So
what I love doing as well.
I decided just the back.
Yep.
And it's just held in there with silicone. So so this is what it is. It's from a company in Texas called Universal Rocks.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I might actually start trying to do that with some of my tanks at home.
The thing I like about it is when you're filming, you don't get that background reflection.
Yeah, true.
Off of the back glass. If I put this on the outside of the tank, which I tried,
yeah,
you get the reflection.
Yeah, because of the glass.
But you put it inside the tank and there's no glass to reflect there.
Because that's what I hated. I used to get these stick-on, you get like double-sided sticky tape, stick on like the background on the backside, and it just didn't seem, I don't know, I hated it, didn't
Right. I've done the same thing. And then trying to get one of them off.
Yeah.
Oh man, you might as well buy a new tank, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing, so well, there's a new solution.
And the thing is, you can see that it's obviously got some algae growing on it.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
It makes it look
It makes it
natural
look
as
even
well.
more natural, right?
Yeah. And it's cool to see because you've done it with this one as well.
Too bad these fish are shy, but maybe I will feed them and bring them out.
Yeah, okay.
Is that okay? with
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Okay. These are electric blue acara and lemon tetras.
Oh yeah, they're coming out.
Come on, guys. I'm not going to feed you if you don't come all the way out.
Gorgeous.
And this is a fish that I haven't ever kept them in the past.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was breeding them. I got 6 or 7 or 8 of them from him as little 1-inch fish. Just, it's just something different that I haven't done.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do something different with this tank. The light is really designed only to light the middle and leave the 2 sides for like dramatic effect.
Yeah, it's pretty aesthetic. I like it.
And I think we've got it turned up, so I'm going to go over there and turn it down so you can see kind of how I normally view this tank.
Oh wow! Yeah,
it's
that makes
more
a
like
huge
this, and the fish just come out in here.
Yeah.
And I've actually have 2 pairs in here. One spawns on the side of this rock, and one spawns on the side of this rock.
It really draws your eyes to the center.
To the center.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can sit, right here and do nothing except for texting or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's really cool just to watch them interact with each other. And so like I said, it's a fish that I haven't kept before, but I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And
They look amazing
in the
as well.
office here, I kind of wanted just to have stuff that
Display.
just more for enjoyment than breeding. So I can see now what you don't know, but in the garage, I have a front that goes all the way across here and covers that.
Yeah.
And I'll be getting rid of that tank completely eventually. And it's black and it's basically held in place by magnets. So then it'll just be
Covered up.
completely
and all nice.
finished. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this tank down here?
That tank has some leftover catfish. I can't never say their name.
Yeah.
Sarichi, I think it is.
So it's like a Cory.
It's a Cory, and they're obviously hiding way in the back. I'm gonna try to spawn them. They came out of one of the 75s, and they're basically put down here just to hold temporarily,
Yeah.
and then try to spawn them. So
Is that Java moss or is that
that is that's Subwasser tang.
Yeah. Nice.
There might be some Java moss mixed in with it, but
It's really cool because it's almost growing like a tree with the roots there.
yes, yeah.
So are
See,
you going to try and spawn them in that tank?
Maybe, or I might have to move them to a 20 long. That's normally what I do catfish in.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They're bristlenose
Don't
just
really
came
know,
out.
but
Yeah, you've gone with such good species for display as well. Like,
yeah,
if I was going to choose one tank, this is probably going to be my favorite in
yeah.
terms
This
of
this is cool. Yeah,
display. So much happening in here.
and they're both fish are active. The lemon tetras are active, and they just keep getting more and more colorful.
Yeah, as they grow up,
As
I
they grow,
guess.
as they grow up and
Age and
mature.
whatnot.
These guys, the females, just turn like this deep purpley blue when they're spawning.
Really?
They're more intensely colored than the males.
Yeah, the spawning colours.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, even now, once they get in the light, it's not so good when they're not, but when they're in the light,
When they're in the light, they
even the females still look pretty good.
yeah.
I'll put some B-roll up, but
Yeah.
such a great species.
Yeah.
And then you got a whole nother rack over here.
Let's start with this one.
All right.
So these are wild caught discus. I didn't catch them myself. I traded a baseball cap for them in Peru.
Perfect.
And at that point in time, they were quarter to 50-cent piece size.
Yeah.
I brought them back, grew them up, had a couple pairings, paired them off, spawn. They kind of seem to have stopped spawning for right now. So wild caught, and then these guys that are being a little bit more shy today are F1s from those.
Oh, okay.
So these are offspring. These are about a little bit more than a year old, I think. A few of them are what I would consider stunted. They haven't grown, but
Right.
that's going to happen with all discus pretty much.
Yeah.
But so these ones are F1s. Those are actually wild, and I think there's at least one pairing in here for sure, maybe two.
But they haven't started breeding yet.
I've seen eggs on both cones from different pairs, and also on the wood on the end, but I haven't done anything with those eggs. I haven't pulled them out or anything. So
Yeah. Did you pull, to get that spawn, did you pull the eggs out for
I
these
did.
ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I had to take the eggs out of those. Go for a lot of food, a lot of water changes. All of these tanks, except for this one, are on an auto water change in the office.
Okay.
So they get about a 10% water change a day.
Yeah.
Up here are, what did I call that earlier?
Oh.
An auction mercy bid?
Yeah,
something like
mercy
that.
bid, yeah.
They are neon orange swordtails. Last year I went to a thing called Fishtoberfest in Portland, Oregon, and no one was bidding on them, so I bid on them and brought them home. And
They look great.
when I brought them home, they were a half-inch long, so that might be why no one was bidding on them down there. But I
Yeah.
just, they give me a spot of color in between the two.
Yeah, it does.
And And I can put a few plants in here, and hopefully they'll grow.
And the cool thing is, if you look from the end, you can see all the way through. I was
Right.
just
Oh,
looking
you
at that
can? I
before.
never even did that.
Yeah,
I'll have to look. Oh, yeah, you can, actually. Wow.
yeah. I
Cool.
was just filming the Discus, and I was looking right through. I
And
could
this
see them.
this was actually a very hard tank to find.
Yeah, I guess. So did you have the two, and then we're like, oh, I need something to fill it?
Yeah, I had the
fill
two,
space?
and then like, man, I would like something at least. I mean, a 20-gallon would be this high.
Yeah.
A 29 is about this high, but a 29 is too long front to back.
Right.
It's 30 inches. I only had 24.
That's like perfect. It nearly matches the other ones.
So this I found actually at a shop in Canada, used. And I thought, okay, well, I'm only going to look at the one end. So if there's one end that's good, I'll take it.
Yeah, right.
And so it's it fit perfect, So
I feel like swordtails, because they're so common, don't get a lot of love, but
they don't, but they're cool fish.
they're an
They are
amazing
cool
fish. I've started getting into them at the fish room.
And when these first started maturing, the little guy, the little guy that was the only one that was showing any male characteristics. I thought, oh man, I only have one male. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 all the males started popping.
Yeah, he's still so small.
Yeah, he is. He's not going to grow anymore. He's going to be the runt now.
Do you reckon he'd still produce?
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. But I don't think he'll get the chance.
Yeah.
So
Competing with all these other males.
Yeah.
Do you? I was just thinking about this then. From the wild caught coloration, is there a difference between that? I guess there wouldn't be, but like, and then the young, or the offspring.
I don't think a lot of color difference.
I guess especially just for
In
F1s.
in
but-
Peru, let's see if we can get these guys to cooperate. Come on, guys. In Peru, the way they sell the discus, these are considered what they call a red spot green discus. The green is not the same green as what we're thinking in our mind right now.
Yeah.
The green is the skin color. They consider the skin color olive green, and then the red spots. They price these by how many red spots the fish has.
Interesting.
So the more red spots, the more expensive fish. So like this one here would be very expensive down there.
Yeah.
And the one with no spots, would
Maybe this one.
be less money.
Yeah.
Now initially I thought the more red spots were males.
Yeah.
That's not the case. It's just something else, some other traits. So
Interesting. Because I've seen similar things in Australia, but I don't know if they're the same. Because have you ever heard of heckle discus? Is that
Yes.
the same as, or is that just a
that's a different variety.
term
Yeah.
for wild caught?
No, heckle discus typically they only have 3 bars.
Oh,
Head,
okay.
tail, and one in the middle.
Yep.
It's a different species of discus,
Yeah.
or a different subspecies, whatever you would call that.
But these are from Peru,
No, they're from Brazil.
Brazil.
So
right.
this is the only discus from Peru.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah, discus are not native to Peru.
Yeah.
These there's a long and mythical story that no one really knows
Yeah.
the real truth, but I've heard that a plane going from Manaus, Brazil, to Lima crashed in the Peruvian jungle, and that's where these all came from.
What a crazy story.
So other people say, well, they were brought there as an invasive species. I don't think anybody really knows the real truth.
It's anyone's guess.
Yeah, except for the person that did it.
Yep.
So
And then down here we have
down here we have
Another
two fish from your neck of the woods. We have Praecox rainbows,
yep.
and specifically these are the lineage that Gary Lang had produced, the famous U.S. rainbow guy.
Yeah.
And then most of the caves are going to have 397 plecos. And
Oh, I can see one there.
yeah, you can see the one. That's a female.
And there's a baby down there.
And there's also babies there. Maybe I could light that up. Let's see. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a couple babies there. There's 2 more babies right between those caves somewhere.
Just saw him scattered.
One in the little cave.
Oh, yeah.
So there's 2 or 3 spawns of babies dispersed in there. They're going to be a pain to catch.
I can imagine.
But I will have to catch them out eventually.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that they got that big without the rainbows getting. Well, maybe the rainbows did get some.
Yeah, because you'd think they'd probably pick on all of them as they come
Yeah.
out. But
We checked the mop. There's hundreds of eggs in the mop today. We checked
Yeah.
it earlier. So that might be something I have to put up to hatch.
so what would you just take them and then?
I don't pick the mop when there's that many eggs.
Yeah.
I take the whole mop. I'll put it in a 2-gallon tank or a gallon jar. It's been in there for 5 or 6 days like that. So
That
I
would be a lot
usually
of
let it
eggs.
hatch for that same amount of time.
Yeah.
When I have a rainbow only tank, then I usually leave the mop in until I see a few babies swimming,
Okay.
and then I hatch it for 10 days.
Oh, okay.
So that I get all of those eggs. 'Cause
Yeah.
they take about 10,
be-
10 days at the most.
Super full then.
Yeah. Yeah, you get a lot of babies that way.
These are huge because I don't know. Are they a long, like a fast growing fish, or they take ages to grow out like the rainbows? Because these are big. I haven't seen ones like this before.
Yeah, these are full grown.
Yeah.
I can get them from fry to saleable size in about 3 months.
Wow.
Maybe 3 months and a week.
Yeah.
However, I sell them at about 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
And at 1.25 inches, they're already breeding, which a lot of people don't believe me. But you have a bunch of fry at 1.25 inches, put a mop in there, you're going to have eggs the next morning.
Wow. That's so small. Well, I guess it's a pygmy rainbow.
Seems like it's small, but
Yeah.
it's rainbows. They're spawning. They're always spawning.
Every
So,
day, just
yeah.
going through that net laying eggs.
And I've always liked the praycocks for 2 reasons. I like the color. I like that they don't get giant. I guess there's going to be a third reason. And they show their color younger.
Yeah, that's very
Right?
true. Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, probably more so than any rainbow.
I think so. Yeah. More
Like-
so than any I've kept.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with stuff that I've kept. They look the best almost when they're small.
You can tell when they've been spawning because the males, their tails will get shredded a little bit
Yeah.
because they're always sparring with each other.
Crazy neon color if you get the
Yeah.
right lighting.
Yeah.
That's an awesome tank.
Really cool. And then down here, these are just potential breeders of my red koi angels. 2 days ago, there was a big spawn. I posted it on my Instagram on the big thing, but they couldn't protect it.
Yeah, just too many of them.
So I put slates at each end to try to give the pairs the ability to keep away from each other.
Have a corner.
And originally I wasn't going to put any plants in here at all. This was the old planted tank, but then I thought, I have a whole bunch of this corkscrew, whatever type of sword or Tenellus or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll just put it in. If it takes off, fine. If it just dissolves, that's fine too.
It's done really well.
Yeah, so it's doing well. And my trademark for most of these office tanks is the airstone.
In the middle of a rock.
Yeah. Essentially, I've just taken a diamond hole saw.
Oh, that's actually a rock.
That is a rock. That's a rock.
That is crazy.
I've taken a diamond hole saw, drilled a hole through the rock, and put an airstone down below.
When I first saw that, I thought that would have to be something that's made up, like an artificial rock.
No, it's
with an
like a
airstone.
real rock. That's a real rock.
I'm gonna have another look at that.
And the
That's
ones
crazy.
up above you,
That is an epic trademark. Oh yeah.
I just kind of did the very first one on a whim, and then it's like, oh, I could just duplicate that. I mean,
How did you come up with that idea?
This is obviously a different rock. The diamond drill bit was in the drill. I had drilled some tanks. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna drill a hole through a rock, put an airstone under it.
It's such a good idea. It's pretty cool.
It makes it look a little bit more natural.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know that this tank is in its final look. The plecos really push the gravel around a lot forward.
Yeah.
And if I push it back, then I'm basically invading what they just made.
Do you find them hard to breed, or they're just?
They will breed when well conditioned with food.
Yeah.
And I feed a lot of dry and frozen foods. Don't feed them any live food in there. It's basically krill flakes, nano pellets, and there's some frozen brine shrimp that goes in there.
They'd love that.
And I make sure that there's enough food when I feed that the rainbows don't get it all, because they're very fast eaters. So there has to be some food that gets to the bottom.
Yeah.
And so they get in condition, and then a couple big water changes right in a row. Sometimes cooler, but I don't really pay a lot of attention to temperature.
So do you reckon seasonal, like?
Usually in the fall and the spring is better than the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a question with this as well.
Yeah.
When you did the slate, did you do it with the intention of taking it out because it's something that's easy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we have one in the fish room that's in a jar, so you can maybe B-roll.
Yeah.
You'll see what I do with the slate. I basically hatch. It could be a gallon jar. I'm using gallon vases.
Yeah.
The only difference is the gallon vase is a little bit lighter than the jar, easier to break, and it doesn't come in at the top. It's just straight.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is awesome. Thanks for showing us around.
You bet.
And yeah,